I have some visions, but the more that I'm in service to God, I just clear my head and just wake up more empty every day and let God do the driving and just use me as he may. So you make plans and God laughs. It's really not about talking, it's about doing. So we are doing. We are in the process right now. Slow yesing people and slowing people down is one of the most popular forms of control. How many times have you had an idea and you just get put in traffic through the bureaucracy? So I don't deal with the traffic at all. Any situation where I'll just be sitting waiting. I'm like, because it's power versus force. I'm not going to force anything. I do what I have the power to do. And if I have to force it, then it's probably not a situation I need to be in.
When I come here and I see the kind of world you're living in here and the kind of environment that you...
When you drove here, you didn't see a lot of extra noise. It was the road.
There was nothing.
And then just God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you see all of the billboards, the traffic billboards. When I say traffic, I'm talking about the billboards are actually sex trafficking. Because if a guy is arguing with his girl or something and went through something with his wife, and on one side of the street, there's a billboard for spirits, just alcohol. And on the other side, it's call this number, or it's a picture of a woman on a billboard says, come to this strip club.
Yeah.
And he goes and he spends some money just to sit down and have someone to talk to him. At the end of the night, when they close up the club, they say, how much traffic did we have? So there's all different layers to trafficking. Like for me, Playboy was my gateway into full-on pornography addiction. My dad had a Playboy left out at age 5. And it's affected almost every choice I made for the rest of my life from age 5 to now having to kick the habit. And it just presents itself in the open, like it's okay. And I stand up and say, you know, it's not okay. Using my mind to build what we're building with farming, what we're building, we're bringing manufacturing back to the States within the next 2 years. Yeezys, you know, we're gonna bring them back to the States. We're creating factories where we have injection molded shoes. We're gonna be hiring people through the prison reform. I don't like to say the word system, but second chance people. And just, you know, people gave up on manufacturing. I'm talking about the purple hair for a second.
Go.
But then I want to jump into how we had given up on manufacturing and said, let's just like manufacture overseas, because it seemed like it was what was easier.
Yeah.
And for me as a founder, it's really important to bring these jobs, you know, back to America. You know, it's like we've been stuck in a loop and we got to break the loop. And that's one of the reasons why I took the denim jacket off, even though I love the color, and put on this polar fleece, because the idea is more in the future. In the fabrics, we're looking at the fabrics. Are we going to use traditional cotton, or are we using the polar fleece? What impact does the dye have? And we're studying if we can control the color from the seed. And that's when you go seed to sow, because a lot of times you have a separate cotton factory, and then they send it out to be cut. Then it gets sent back to the cotton factory. Then it gets sent to dye. And we're even talking about things like screen printing to apply color, or dipping it in a different way, because we're just looking like nylon is a 5-story building. So when we're going seed to sow, and I'm looking, because I like the nylon, we have nylon in here, I'm saying, oh wow, we got to have fabrics that don't take 5-story buildings. It's really about control. We have to be in control of our own minds, of our own food, our health, and our families.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When I arrived, I said I didn't know whether this was 3,000 years, whether I'm 3,000 years in the past or 3,000 years in the future being on this ranch, because it's so isolated and really you're in the elements. Apart from this cozy environment, we're in the elements right here. This has just been planted in the middle of the space. And it sounds to me like you want to go forward. Like you want to go back and use some of these techniques and these ideas in order to.
Yeah, like Rome is the true Silicon Valley of humanity. A lot of the ideas and things that we need are from thousands and thousands of years ago. It's just like, what do we need for our Maslow's hierarchy of need chart? What are our personal needs as a human being? And what we need the most is each other. That's why we gather together, just like the antelopes that are running out there. We gather together. And what is the best form of each other? Family. To keep our families close. But cities have been designed to create more problems that can create more industries. So it's designed that your job is 45 minutes away so that you can spend time in traffic, so that the cars have more wear and tear and spend more gas and take more gas. But to think of communities where the church is in the center of the community, and then the school, cafeterias, sustainable gardening, and homes. This is the concept that I have. This is what me and Rick Fox went to the Bahamas as we're working on hurricane-proof homes right now. We're thinking of how to look at the amount of wind that's coming through. You know, these houses are going to be way lower that I put on here. So I mean, this is not a hurricane, obviously.
No, but I mean, it whips through.
Yeah, and when I was creating the domes,
and it's energy too, right? I mean, that's what you were saying before. I mean,
God,
the elements give you what you need. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, God gives us everything that we need. What I love about being Christian is I've always been an innovator, but it always seemed like all the innovators were working for, I don't know, Ayn Rand. I heard the term or something like these ideas that there is no God, all this, and it's just working for the valuation of a company, as opposed to working for the rebirth, or it's not a rebirth, I might not find the right word, but working for a renewal of the planet and a humility in humanity to understand that we will not destroy the earth. We could destroy the resources.
We can destroy ourselves.
And we destroy ourselves, and then the earth goes on. So regardless of what's happening at Wall Street and what's happening at the board, with trade and what's happening, a Pangea type mentality, a UN coming together. One thing, no matter what side you're on, you're considered to be a bad guy or a good guy. Everybody wants a similar thing, and that's for the world to be better for their children. So if someone's fighting in a war, they want the world to be better for their children. And what we're not realizing, being all God's creation, is we have so much more in common than we think. I think there's something planted in us, this idea of, human nature. Even something I was saying, I saw on Silicon Valley, where this guy was like, I don't want the world to be fixed if I'm not the one fixing it. We don't always have to be the one that does it. This interview alone might do it. I could be in there and, have these ideas of civil engineering and using aqueducts and sustainable gardening and farming. But there's people out there that are going to see this, and they're going to come to the table and say, I've studied this for 10 years. I've studied this for 10 years. I've studied this for 10 years. And it's something where everybody, all the Fortune 500 companies, all the founders have to come to the table and say, this is what we want. It's a difference between founders and stockholders. Founders are special, bro.
Yeah, that's
living
legacy makers.
founders.
Yeah,
you got to honor those living founders. Those are the great grandfathers of what's being built.
So who are the founders right now that you're speaking to?
All of them in this interview. Give me a call. You know who my favorite founder is?
Who?
Jack Dorsey.
Right. Why?
Just incredibly smart, visionary. He created a bank on his third company. At one company, it failed. His second company's Twitter. Created Square, and now he's got a new arm, I like saying arm, that division, a bank that allows people to buy stock in companies as big as, I'm gonna say his company, I don't know how to say the name, but it's the one that costs $314,000, Warren Buffett's. Berkshire Hathaway. Jack Dorsey's created an app where someone can buy into that stock at $1. Actually, I'm not saying that is not possible somewhere on the stock market. I'm just saying he created the app that allows everyone
to be investors.
To be invested. I mean, that's just one of the things he did. One of the things that he did is he wanted to invest in me early, and he never tried to sun me. A lot of times I would go out and meet with people in Silicon Valley, and it was really like the first episode of Silicon Valley where Kid Rock is like, yo, I'm Kid Rock. And the very next conversation is, yo, that's Kid Rock. He's the brokest person here.
Right. So you were marginalized, you were trivialized. You felt trivialized in that experience as an entertainer trying to play tech.
Absolutely. And, you know, now that I'm in service to Christ, my job is to spread the gospel, to let people know what Jesus has done for me. You know, I've spread it a lot of things. There was a time I was letting you know what high fashion had done for me. I was letting you know what the Hennessy had done for me. I was letting you know all these things, but now I'm letting you know what Jesus has done for me. And in that, I'm no longer a slave. I'm a son now, a son of God. I'm free. Thinking of something I want to say out loud, Christian innovator. When you think about the church, because it has to stand on the word so hard, it loves to be extra traditional to the point of blocking innovation. So when we started Sunday service, we were able to be free where people were in doubt of it and questioned. Some people still in question now, saying it's not a church. You can't call it a church because you don't have a pastor. All of these things.
Is it a church?
Well, we have a pastor now. So I showed, you know, North a picture of a James Turrell structure that I loved. And she said, that looks like church. That's what church looks like to North. And North is, you know, she was last night just actually crying about when she couldn't go to church when it would be out of town and she'd be at school. And she's like, church needs to be here every Sunday. Church does need to be a place that people know they can go to and they don't have to hop on a flight and chase it down and find. That's what is a part of what I think makes it a church. Another thing is, when North talks about church, he says, I'm gonna bring my friends here and I'm gonna dance. Tell me someone that you know that's in our age group that their most positive memory of their childhood, of one of them equally, was going to church. Where people are like, I want to go to church.
And why do you think that is?
Sitting in those pews, the tradition, the four walls. God doesn't exist only in four walls. God is everything and everywhere. So Christian innovation, Christian innovators, that's the net that we're casting for the organization that we have now. I believe it was King David. Now, I'm not a theologian, I'm a recent convert. There was times where I was asking people to fast during the album. I was asking people to, this is gonna be radical, what I'm about to say. I know this is, we can look at it, the edit. There's times where I was asking people to not have premarital sex while they were working on the album.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's one for the shade room. Be like, what you mean you don't have premarital sex? You better turn that Meg Thee Stallion on right now.
Right.
You know, there's times where I went to people that were working on other projects and said, could you just work and focus on this?
And not just because you needed their attention, but because it wasn't in keeping with the spirit of what you were making. You felt that it was at odds, what they were working on.
Yeah, I thought it would
tarnish the experience.
Yeah, I thought if we could all focus and fast. I mean, it's known when people pray together, families that pray together, stay together. When people pray together and fast together, the power is increased. I had some things where theories, recent converts, they go in and, you know, we're a lot of times the most fire and brimstone, the most judgmental. Yeah. Because we don't know everything that we did was of and not for God. But God was patient, and my family was patient for me when they were praying for me. You know, when they saw me at the Pornhub Awards, there's family members, they couldn't tell me not to do it. All they could do was pray and be patient, and it had to happen in God's time. So for me, when I have people around who I would like them to be where I'm at in my journey, there's times where all I could do is pray and be patient, because it's gonna only be in God's time. I think when people have been addicted to something, like if you ask somebody that's a drug addict, it's like, you say, are you still addicted? Well, yeah, you turn it off, actually. Like, with God, I've been able to beat things that had a full control of me. Things that, you know, that Playboy that I found when I was 5 years old was written all over the moment when I was at the MTV Awards with the Timberlands, the Balmain jeans, before people was rocking Balmain jeans, and the Hennessy bottle. It's like, that was such a script out of a rock star's life. My mom had passed a year before, and I said, you know, some people drown themselves in drugs, and I drowned myself in my addiction.
Which was what?
Sex. You know what? I was not just addicted to sex, I was also addicted to inspiration. But there's only one, you know, said that, you know, a lot of successful men had a high sex drive.
Right.
Who said that? You know, they.
So many quotes attributed to they. I love it. Right. Yeah.
So, but what I meant by addicted to inspiration, it could be, the sex could be an inspiration, but also just a design image, you know, a jacket that I wanted to design, a car image, a house image. I was addicted to these kind of images coming across. Like, there'll be people who say, oh, architecture is my porn. And people can be addicted to architecture. People, I mean, a big addiction is work.
Yeah, very much so.
Workaholics.
Most common.
And what about, you know, men and women that say, hey, you know, I'm working this job so hard to make a better life for my kids. And they look up and they hadn't spent their life with their kids.
When do you live your life with your actual kids? Where do you find that balance?
You say, I'm working to make a better life for my kids, but when are you going to spend your life with your kids?
Yeah.
And really, it's like, did you have to work for that fourth house? You know, did you have to work for the...
Well, did you?
I didn't have to. There's a balance of family and calling that I specifically have. I have to protect and take care of my family and make sure with the power that God has put in my hands, that I do everything that I can as the father to provide the best chance at them being the maximum success that they can be. That was a very specific,
very thoughtful answer.
Yeah, because I didn't say normal life.
No, it was very
I didn't
thoughtful.
say no.
That was very deliberate. That was very deliberate.
So,
and I get that. I understand.
and I said
that.
as a father because they
right.
also have a mother.
That's right.
So it's the balance.
And it's
of
not
that.
about the fourth house. It's about the environment that you create. Ultimately, they're learning, right?
Yeah, and also the environment of, because of my position in the world, the environment that I inform for other people. You know, we've informed a successful celebrity marriage, a successful interracial marriage where the husband was the darker color inside of America. We've informed some things that I wasn't as into now, where, you know, I literally was up there trying to have my daughter outdress Rihanna. It sounds crazy when you say it out loud, but if you really think about it, it's like his daughter was walking around with a slip dress. The culture was my God. I thought I was the God of culture, but really culture was my God. And who invented the culture? The culture is cultivated by who? So if you were to think, what is the culture today? What are some of the major things that it includes? And all of the major points of what might make the culture bowing, taking a knee at a football game, wearing, expensive clothes, rapping about just rap, period, making money from rap, making money from basketball. Before I get to my point, can we name some other things that you say are part of the culture? Buying jewelry. What are some of the other things that we see on the culture? Using social media is a very major part of the culture. To be down with or with the culture, you have to use social media, right? What other things? Okay, now I'm gonna just get to my point right now. None of these things that you need to be involved in order to be down with the culture are owned by Black people. So who designed the culture? When Chance said don't sign anything,
right,
his tour was canceled like the next week. Spiritual warfare. God is changing. God is using me. God is using me to show off, I believe. God is similar to...
You're saying he wanted the loudest voice and the one who made the most noise to make the most impact?
Yeah, he wanted to show off. He's like, now let me take this Nebuchadnezzar type character. Nebuchadnezzar was the king, is it Babylon? Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. And he looked at his entire kingdom and said, I did this. And God said, oh, for real, you did this? Sounds kind of similar, right? I'm standing on the tip of the mountain talking about Jesus, saying,
That's right.
I did this.
I'm a God.
That I'm a God. And I could talk to Jesus at the end of my show. I had a guy dressed up as Jesus at the end of my show.
He was standing on a huge mountain on that tour.
And that huge mountain, first of all, I didn't make any money off that tour. I'm lugging a mountain around, and God said, okay, Nebuchadnezzar was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He was still king. And so not only was I diagnosed with mental illness, the mental illness is something that was used to take my dome down by 10 feet, to wash me out, to control me. Every one of these guys that are founders now have to look me eye to eye. Every founder on the planet. There will be a time where I will be president of the United States, and I will remember, I will forgive, but I will remember any founder that didn't have the capacity to understand culturally what we were doing. I will always remember every meeting and interaction I've had with Jack Dorsey, and I will always remember my meetings and interactions with Mark Zuckerberg, and they've been completely different. With social media, people are brainwashed by it. People are addicted to it. It is the modern day cigarettes. When cigarettes first came out, and Edward Bernays created the Torches of Freedom March to get women to feel empowered by smoking cigarettes. This is from Century of Self, and it shows that Edward Bernays was Freud's cousin. So, you know, I don't know if I should even talk anymore. It's like, you guys.
What do you mean? I mean, so much more to 2024 is still a thing? That's the time frame?
We're working on.
You're working on
some things right now. So
yeah.
What I'm saying is people are addicted to social media. People invest more into a photo on social media than they invest into real life. One of the reasons why I came to this ranch is to get outside. Anyone that's in a corporate environment, black or white, there's bureaucracy at every level. There's rivalries on teams at every level. There's rivalries with coaches, with owners, with stockholders, with founders, and everybody goes home to their families and they want their sons and their daughters to be as successful as them, if not better. You know, we're all people.
Yeah.
So this isn't to point fingers and say, this person is doing good and this person is doing bad. You know, I'm just giving you a flat opinion on what I currently see and what I feel and the pain that I have in my life. I suffer and I appreciate the suffering because it's just, we can just feel a little bit of what Jesus felt when we suffer. But social media makes me suffer. I suffer from that. And by me saying this out loud, I'm sure that there's other married men that suffer in a similar way that are happy to hear me say, oh yeah, I'm suffering.
What?
Social media prompts women in particular to put out content that they wouldn't have put out in the past.
So you're referring to your sex addiction?
Yeah, it definitely could deal with my addiction, but when I was younger and I wanted to see something like that, I had to, pay someone that was older to go to 7-Eleven and buy it. Now I got friends that have kids that are just out of grammar school and high school that it's completely available. There is no NSFW. As a God-fearing, married, Christian, innovator, billionaire, founder, no one's gonna take my opinion away from me. I've been giving my opinion my whole career. I done killed my career how many times? I'm gonna stop giving my opinion now? People, you know how many times people told me my career was over? No one is gonna control my opinion. And one of the things where people have been let off the hook a bit was this whole, oh, he's crazy. Oh, look at him, he's crazy. That got to mute my opinion for 3-4 years, but God has the power. Jesus is the force that brought the sanity. When people pray together and you're in a room together, you can think things all the way through when that energy builds up, because artists are like a lake. We reflect what's in front of us. Exactly, this is the exact point I was making. When you're not serving God, you're serving everyone else. You're serving your ego, you're serving your bank account, you're serving your legacy, you're serving your wife and kids, which is a good thing to serve. You're serving your management or the people that you're managing. You're serving Hollywood, you're serving your reputation, you're serving the responsibility of your race, you're serving, so the thing is, you'd say with what I do with music, that I am a top chef, be like a 5-star Michelin chef.
Correct.
Of what I do with music, right? So imagine that level of chef having to serve at 10 different restaurants all at the same time.
Right.
And drive different places. Those meals.
Sounds like a road to bankruptcy.
A road to bankruptcy, a road to TMZ quotes, a road to the world just not understanding. The main thing is, look, we are living in the dark ages. We're living in an age where people die of hunger. We're living in an age where people are being killed in the street by their own race. We're living in an age where 1 in 3 African Americans are being locked up. We're living in an age where there are children being held at the border, some with their real parents, some not with their real parents. We're living in an age where houses are not sustaining through hurricanes. And there's companies that are worth trillions of dollars around the world with geniuses just working on how to make solely their product better. We're living in an age where someone could be fired for what they think if they say it out loud. That's the age. Wake up. This is 2019. This is where we are at right now. This is what Dave Chappelle's whole point was. Stop killing the art. The artists are supposed to express themselves, to be able to have that eternal 3-year-old at all costs. People say, oh, this is going to kill your brand. But my brand is expressing how I feel, whether it's in line with what you thought the brand was even 2 days ago. A smart man has the ability to pivot and say, I think something different now. I don't think this because this was the culture. I don't think North should wear crop tops just because I had her wearing a slip dress when she was 2 years old. I think and feel differently now that I am Christian, now that I'm the founder of a $3 billion organization and married for 5 years. I have 5 years of marriage under my belt. Now tell me who you're going to listen to. What I learned from 5 years of marriage is it is the greatest bond. It is a God bond. To be able to have someone that you can call on, someone you could call out, someone that could call on you and call you out, equally yoked, someone to complain to, and someone to grow with as we grow and raise our children. That's it. I mean, I told my wife, I said, Jesus King is coming. There's going to be a lot of attacks. There's going to be some silly attacks. Spiritual warfare, and then also just societal control attacks. I wasn't afraid to speak my mind when I didn't own my master's. I own my master's. You think I ain't gonna talk my mind right now? You know what I'm saying? Give me some other examples where someone is saying something that isn't what you're culturally supposed to say. Give me an example of something, of a position where someone is saying something that you're not culturally supposed to say. Whether, I bet there's only one name you can think of. You don't want to say it, do you, Lebron?
Nah, come on. By the way, I'm all right with that.
Say the name.
No, no, for sure. I mean, Donald Trump's on the list. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not a fan, man. And that's an understatement, right? But that's okay. We're different. We have different approaches to how we live our life.
Yeah.
But one thing you said earlier on, which I do totally relate to, which I love, is we're trying to leave the world in a better place for the people that matter to us, our kids.
Okay.
And if you're too young to have kids, you're trying to make the world a better place for yourself. And she may be in a situation where it's expected of her now, but I do think Greta Thunberg at one point was on that list, having a 16-year-old kid from Sweden coming out and putting everything on hold and saying what she believed in. And climate change does concern me, and I do think it's a fucking issue. And I think the fact that she came out and did that was huge. And now it's like, oh, that's culturally accepted because she has an army of kids behind her. But at the time, she was one kid. She's the only person who stood out in the street and did that on her own. Do you know how many times I've walked down the street when I've felt so frustrated about that and thought, what if I just stop what I'm doing and stand out in the middle of a street in Los Angeles with a placard? Would anyone join me, right? I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling that way. And it feels overwhelming. Like, what change is it really going to make? She just showed us up. She did that on her own. Started with one person.
That was beautiful.
And it's beautiful, but it's also terrifying. that we're leaving that world. You know, I see why you're here. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why you're checking out. It was too noisy for you there. It was too noisy. And you responded by making as much noise as you could. And we're lucky. We got amazing art out of it. Amazing art.
Yeah.
If this was a trade, Kanye, we did all right out of it.
You know what? That's so funny.
Facts.
Well, that's good, but also I owe nobody nothing. My forefathers have already fought the fight. So it's not a fight when I put the hat on. It's simply my opinion and its next subject. But this shows you that God is hilarious.
Why?
God, you know, there's one gate, there's two gates, or there's three gates, but there's two main gates when you're with houses at the end of the cul-de-sac. One gate goes, and my house is at the end of the cul-de-sac. Who else's house do you think is at the end of the other cul-de-sac of the gate? The name of the gate is their house at the end of the cul-de-sac. The name of the gate is my house at the end of the cul-de-sac. What other rapper do you think? So God is funny.
Yeah.
Drake
Right.
lives
literally.
4 blocks down the street from me.
Got it.
So that shows you that God is like, he's got a sense of humor.
Why?
Liberals,
Because he's the polar opposite of where you're at.
No, it's just because there was a rivalry. For
Oh,
a little bit.
right.
Now, liberals love art, right? And now I am undoubtedly the greatest human artist of all time. It's just not even a question anymore at this point. It's just a fact, right? So for the greatest artists in human existence to put a red hat on was like God's practical joke on all liberals.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And that's why it hurt.
Not Kanye.
And
those liberals never.
No, fans, man. Fans.
Also fans and liberals never stood in front of the prisons to stop there from being 1 and 3 locked up, or the system that's set up where there's actually not enough legal job opportunities for us to avoid from being locked up. Now you got the Clintons, that's privately owned prisons. You get what I'm saying? It's like everyone, no one is God. Everyone bases their opinions on a group of propaganda-esque images fed to us from the very first cartoon or the very first cereal box that we saw in a grocery store. And our environment, friends, schools, religion, country, music that we listen to, all informs our opinion and what side we're on. We've been herded into an idea of blue or red, right, left. But there's actually a time when we were closer to heaven, when we were 6 months before we learned how to speak, before things got so complicated, where we actually had more in common. All of these things that separate us, it's like when you don't spend time talking to somebody for a long time, you start to build up more and more reasons why you shouldn't be talking to them.
Yeah, there's anxiety in it, and distance creates that anxiety.
The distance has created an anxiety. We are the same human beings. We are gods. It's not man versus machine. Man is the machine. So we are God's imperfect creation because we perish. Go ahead. So you cannot be in service to God and be mad at your brother. Yeah, but then I'll be repenting because I'll, go and look at something I'm not supposed to be looking at on the internet.
Right. And how do you process that now? Guilt?
And
shame?
Then this is how it is. I'm not saying, no shame. Now that's something that Christ has removed, is the shame. What happened is it doesn't work like karma. God is so merciful that it's not directly connected. One of the things that happened when I went to the hospital, as I started reading the Bible and I started copying and writing out Bible verses. And a person came to my house that wasn't a Christian and told me, come over. And then 30 minutes later, I was in handcuffs headed to the hospital. Now, this person very well may have saved my life, because when you're in an episode, you can jump off the side of a balcony.
Yeah.
You can stab your eye out.
Your presence of mind is not.
Yeah, you could do a
there.
lot of things when you're ramped up like that. But one of the things that people do now is they try to discriminate against my mind and my thoughts because of that moment. It's like if someone, went to jail and now they're working at an office and they have an argument with somebody, who are they gonna blame for the argument? The guy that went to jail. Mm-hmm. So I still have radical thoughts, visions, future ideas. And sometimes when I say them out loud, people could just denounce it and say, oh, you're crazy. To be able to have gone that far, to go to places that people say only ayahuasca and different things can take you, but to naturally be able to think that far and connect. And the way, I feel another thing related to me wearing the hat that liberals love to do is say, oh, this relates to mental health. His story is mental health. Is he like, my wife would go places and people would be like, is Jay okay? Is he okay? Like, Kobe Bryant has won 5 championships and he's got a lot of injuries. His story isn't pulling an Achilles, and every story after that, how he pulled an Achilles. But the same press that doesn't want to do the press and doesn't want to say, hey, Yeezy is the most Google brand, and this guy is a billionaire. This guy is a black Trump supporter. This guy is, they want to make the conversation always be about mental health. And I do love the fact that I can show the world that I'm sitting here and have been diagnosed, put on medication to make me fat on purpose. Because after I didn't want to take the meds, they were like, okay, we got this version that don't make you fat. They're trying to kill the superhero. So I'm here to show that someone that's diagnosed can still drive and be the founder of a multi-billion-dollar organization, can still be in service to Christ, can still be a good husband and a good dad. My life does not end with this diagnosis.
Or when you go off and you do it all in 2 weeks, and everyone sees this flurry of activity, and it's like every day there's 3 things coming at you that you're distributing information-wise, then people, I think their natural instincts, if I can speak for people, are to go, is he okay? There seems to be a lot of disruption and instability going on around him in this very short window of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I've never been just okay. I've always been amazing. So they want me to operate in a just okay format. And that's not the format that I'm in. And I mean, the biggest, it's always the defense. You just said, it's okay, but it's not okay. It's amazing. HSP, highly sensitive people, meaning people who can't stand the BS. I can't sit with something on my spirit for more than a day. I can't go to sleep on it. I have to express it. When I was, me and Drake had the disagreement and he refused to talk to me for 6 months, that was so painful because expressing yourself is a form of therapy for people with mental health. So you saw, I expressed myself. I've been waiting to express myself for a long time. And then the expression fully came out. People that are locked up a lot of times ran out of words. The expression went to, I'm just about to go shoot somebody, or I'm going crazy because I don't have a way to feed my family. So it's a lot of things where people are driven to not have a conversation all the way through. Another thing I was thinking about when I used the bathroom earlier today, when I was taking a piss because it pissed me off, is when the media says Kanye defends his support of Trump. I didn't know I was in a courtroom. I ain't got to defend nothing. It's not a defense. If every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test. And when did you have the most anxiety in grammar school and high school?
No question.
On test day.
No question.
So your entire life become this test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel. My mama said trying is failing. There is no ifs, woulds, coulds, shoulds. It just is, and we just are. And it is so. It's simple. That's like, and this mentality should not be defeated. Yea, cannot die. Yea, cannot be buried. There is nothing. As a matter of fact, no enemy. I'm my only, the enemy is a concept that's out. It's like a game. Think about it, you play a video game, there's an antagonist, but it wouldn't be a game unless there was opposition. I ain't trying to play ping pong by myself. So they set up new goals. What I love about when I hugged Virgil is he showed me that actually we're all playing on the same court. And he went and ran that field goal. He ran that touchdown in for us all, because there was a time when we all were crazy. There's a time when it was fish sticks in South Park. Now everybody want to pull up at a fashion show, but he really stamped it by being that designer.
He validated it.
He validated, and when I said earlier, I always thought it was supposed to be me. It always was and is supposed to be me, but I'm not supposed to be working for Bernard. I'm supposed to be bringing manufacturing, back to America. They did me a favor, but I tell you what, now Bernard knows my new Drake. I tell you that. I ain't even thinking. I want all blessed Drake. I'm an ordained minister. If he want me to, when he finally get married, I'll show up like, Aubrey, we done had our ups and downs.
You'd be good at that. You'd be good at that.
Yes.
Sorry, you'd be good at everything. My bad. You didn't get the memo?
I'm not good at holding my breath or holding my tongue. I'm real bad at it. Real bad. Yeah, but it was supposed to be me in that way. But God had a bigger plan. That thing is so much the Instagram, the Jesus Instagram, where the little kid is holding on to a little teddy bear. There's an Instagram where a little kid is holding on to a little teddy bear and Jesus has this huge teddy bear behind his back. But you don't want to let go of that little teddy bear that you've known your whole life. That's what I was talking about, the tradition. You don't want to let go of what you think it's supposed to be. And God's got a bigger plan for you. That's why I didn't want to even be, presumptuous and arrogant and like borderline blasphemous to try to tell you where this would be in 20 years. I'm open. Hey, God, use me, please. Please, Jesus Christ, use me to the maximum. If it is in your will. He's given me all these skills. Like it's times I sat in my house and I'm looking at how beautiful my house is, and me and Axel Vavort did it. And I'm looking at the designs, I'm looking at the music, I'm looking at what we do with show design, like the floating stage and the mountain. And I'm thinking, why couldn't I work for Bernard Arnault? And God is like, because I need you to work for me. This is what Sway was talking about. And now, I used to say how Sway, now I could say now Sway. Now Sway. Now it's time. I just will keep getting used by God. I don't love suffering. No one loves pain, but I'm still, through the good times and through the suffering, I praise God because I experience the blessings and I also experience the lessons. I'm just so blessed for everything that I've been through to still be standing here and 15 years in, be making an album where the work, the paintings still are inspiring to me, where I want to hear them. I want to listen to this. I want to have, music is my job. That's why I'm putting out the album. Serving God and everything I can do is my job. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on the planet, is to be in service, in fear, love, and service to God. I believe if I stop doing music, not because it promotes the brand, I believe because God has given me a gift that I prayed for and so many people love, that if I stop doing it, he might start to take other things away. Because who am I to say, oh, I got these shoes now, or oh, we're building these hotels now, or oh, I got a family now, so I'm not gonna do music. I'm not gonna give people these new ideas that I have. I had to really, and it's fun, it's a good job. It's not about validation, it's about the light. Seeing Jay's face light up when I would play him those beats, and now seeing North's face light up when she's playing with the device that we just created.
What is this device you keep talking about?
We'll go back to the studio, we'll play it.
All right, cool.
But ticks, in general, are dark. Music has more of ability to be light. Similar to Tesla, I'm about lighting the world up, about being a light, being a beacon, and having other people experience joy through what we create, whether they're holding the product that we create or experience the Sunday service, or when they used to come to the tours and see the imagination, someone up there with a mask on. It's not about entertainment it's not about entertainment, it's about imagination. Witness the imagination and feel good. Know that things are possible. Know that things that you feel are possible. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do. To do things you're like, oh, I didn't know. That's why we got to go and take the Sherp out on the lake so you can see that this thing literally drives on the lake and that it is possible for these to do that. And I think I think this is a good thing, this anchor about, comparing these moments or also the way people hear. The reason why I love doing listening sessions is to be close to all these people hearing the way they felt when they first heard it.
See the light.
Yeah, we see the light. Whereas when an album is like released mass wide, you can kind of hear reviews coming back, or you hear people driving down the street, and that feels good. Yeah. There's a communal element to music that streaming helps, and it takes away from it a little bit. It's like video killed the radio star, streaming killed the video star. Yeah, I also feel it's a camouflage. If the system that supported Kanye West had any idea that I would make it to that telethon, or make it to that Taylor Swift stage, or make it to be the founder of this $3 billion company, they would have injected it with drugs way earlier. They would have tried to do anything to stop it earlier, but it's too late. So it's been a camouflage, and even right now as I speak, there's a wash of arrogance that because I've been diagnosed with mental health, because I am Black, because I've been positioned in this entertainment field, because I've had a red hat, all these different things, it makes, when I talk, it's a dog whistle. Because the people who need to hear it. And the people who don't need to hear it, that should be afraid of it, are too much bigots. They're too much of bigots I'm gonna say too much bigots because the use of incorrect English is also a camouflage. They're too much bigots to believe that it can happen. Bernard Lowe doesn't believe that the kid that had a backpack on will be standing across the stadium from Jay-Z, the greatest rapper ever. Think about that. A little kid in Baseline Studio with a backpack on someday to be across the stadium from one of his heroes. Bernard Arnault is one of my heroes.
Your dad is your number one hero.
Yeah, and then Bernard's way
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about your dad before. Certainly, no, we've never spoken about your dad before.
Oh man, my dad he has a water purification center. He don't know no raps. He stayed in homeless shelters less than 10 years ago just to help people. He's a Christian marriage counselor, master's degree. Met my mom in college. It's like, and now at age 42, so many artists at age 40, like Tesla stopped having sex at age 40. Da Vinci said, I'm not gonna paint rich women anymore. I'm gonna build bridges at this age. This is the age when you start to see. You guys haven't even seen, when they do books on what we're gonna make, you're gonna look at the sound and say, oh, it's a yay sound. It's all these different things. We haven't really experienced what the paintings are yet. You talk about being in practice, like Allen Iverson said, who need practice? We don't have choir practice, we have choir growth. We have grown. The amount of chords that I've listened to in the past year alone, like in off time, even when I was doing 5 albums in a row, I was like, oh, this is just like LeBron, just back on the treadmill, I'm gonna just do these 5 albums. Y'all about to, just that 5 albums was a part of my rehabilitation from coming from the hospital. Think about like when I was at Nike. When I was at Nike, there wasn't no Virgil, there wasn't no Drake, there wasn't no Travis. It was just like yay, graduation. And then when I left, you know how the brand Antisocial Social Club? They made the Anti-Kanye Club at Nike. It's literally other versions to be anti-Kanye.
Someone's gonna watch.
And building it for us, other people's families, not just, building it for us, for everyone, just innovating, thinking, why does that plug have to go into that wall like that? Why does this room this far away? Why is this couch designed like this?
Is this your life's work now? From this point forward, it is your life's work.
Creatively, it's what I'm interested in expressing, but it will only be expressed if it's in God's will. Because if God wants me to build these factories, they shall be built. And if God says, that's not what I want you to do, I want you to sit in jail. I want you to go to sit in Africa for this amount of time for this reason. I don't know what God has planned for me.
Surrendering of control in your whole life has been about control.
Exactly. Think about that. It could go from being this to whatever God has planned, that I am ready to be in service to God and whatever He has planned for me.
Thank you, man. This has been really special.
That's fire. This is like...
this is crazy.
This is one for the ages.
This is crazy. So I guess, in anticipation of the album coming, we should focus.
This is such a win for the kingdom. For Kanye to come back home from going from Jesus Walks to I Love It and to say, I give it up to you, God. I tried it my way. It's not working out. It's not working out. I got, everything is in shambles. I'm ending up in debt. At least I'm seeing... we're making this money, but I'm still ending up in debt. My public standing is all in shambles. I'm not in good shape. I'm having ups and downs with my health. People calling me crazy. People not wanting to sit and meet with me. All this is happening. I had to just give it all up to God and not use any of, the tactics, even like when I say, oh, Bernard's my new Drake and all this kind of hotlines or whatever, it's like, no, we got to go in and say that it's all in God's hands. It's just praying. When you pray, things don't always happen exactly when you want them to happen. It's in God's time. It's not in your time. And God may have you suffer to use you, to show you something, to show someone else something. It's God, why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to go through this? But it's a part of a bigger plan. So
and where does that leave Push?
Push is coming along, but I can't speak on his journey and his walk, but he knows God is real. You know, there's things where people know God is real, but the tangible and the physical things are so in front of us. I think I was on the path since I was born. God always had me on this path. And, you know, after surrounding myself with Sunday service, with all of these God-fearing, God-loving people singing, you know, I really had a luxury sound wave treatment to show me how God is so good. And I was led with light. And it's funny because God led me with light to him, but then I'll turn around and be screaming at other people that are not in the same place in their journey, you know, pointing fingers and being judgmental.
And you're over that now, to a degree.
I'm still human. I still hurt. I still get mad, but it's interesting.
But no drugs in the studio? No alcohol in the studio? Can you be around that stuff?
All alcohol, but yeah, no. But some people, you know, have a medical condition where they have to smoke weed.
Mm-hmm. And you're okay with that?
Well, yeah, you're saying what do I condone on a property inside my studio specifically? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm early on into the walk, and I believe that there's certain things that haven't been defined completely. But I mean, we never had people doing hard drugs in our studios anyway. I've never seen someone do cocaine in a studio of mine. I never seen anyone smoke crack. I never seen anyone do heroin. But pills are a friend of heroin. It's a oxycontin. It's an opioid. So I remember, you know, having surgery and then having the painkiller, and then after the pain was gone, I'd still be popping the pills and maybe taking more than one. And the feeling, that thing that set off, it's a similar feeling to when you climax. So that shows you why sex is just as much a powerful drug as an opioid or as heroin. So when you saw me at the MTV Awards, the year after my mama had passed, that was like if I was a heroin addict with the needle, coming out of my arm. Like, I don't really care about living anymore. And I just thank God for saving me physically, mentally, spiritually. Yeah. Yes, I'm at peace. I give it all up to God. It's sometimes we'll sit around and start to get mad about something, or I'm, you know, about to scream about something and I'm rude. You know, I have a rude spirit, and I had a rude spirit that I need to work on. Grace. A lot of people, there's things that they need to work on. Man, I am like just prepped to be a Christian. You know, you get stereotyped, you know, somebody that's tall and say, yo, do you play ball? It's like, you just take everything about my personality, but like, oh, you would make a perfect Christian.
But don't you want to hold on to some of that fight? Isn't that fight needed? Don't you need some of that fight in you still? Like that?
What is the fight? Yeah. Just because you're a Christian don't mean you ain't got to fight.
I mean, the rudeness. Let me be more specific.
Well, that's what I was about to say. The thing I pray for to be more Christ-like is the grace. I have to pray for grace. And then as God strengthens my hand, is to have more grace. Like, we as human beings inside of the game of life there's an ability where I might be slightly upset about something later today. I pray not, but doesn't seem to go about 2 days without me getting something new to be, I'm upset about that. These are like new challenges that we're at with life. It's complete, the landscape has changed. We're out here taking, you know, meetings and doing partnerships on building factories and building our own farms. And in these new challenges, there will be things you're frustrated about. It's like if you went to different levels of the video game. Like, I'm less frustrated about the snare or hi-hat. I've been doing that so long. I call up Manny Marquardt, I call up Mike Dean. We have our production staff, everything. We got that completely under control. I don't have any idea, of how. I have an idea, but I don't have experience doing the things I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And in that experience, there's gonna be some cuts and some bruises, but I'm ready to go in. It's one of those like jumping in the deep end things. Like if you knew how, difficult certain things were, you might not jump in to be able to receive how rewarding they are on the other end. And we in the deep end. We stay in the deep end. I'm not shallow, I'm deep. I'm like, everything's gonna be in the deep end. I'm putting a single on. I'm gonna get Tracy Spencer to do it. I'm gonna say
Now when it comes to being true, it's true to me. One thing I found, I know you never let me down. I ain't never let you down.
Get up, I get, cheer, yo. And yo, first I snatched the streets, then I snatched the charts. First I had their ear, now I have their heart. Rappers came and went, I've been here from the start. I seen them put it together, watch them take it apart. See the rovers roll up with ribbons, I seen them repo, resold, and re-driven. So when I reload, he hold number one positions. When you hot, I'm hot, and when your feet cold, mine's a sizzling, it's plain to see. Niggas can't fuck with me, cause I'ma be that nigga for life. This is not an image, this is God-given. This is hard living, mixed with crystal sipping. This the most consistent hoe, give you the most hits. You can fit inside a whole distance. Nigga, I'm home on these charts, y'all niggas visiting. It's home edition, Chef Go in the rap. I'm back to claim pole position. Holla at your boy.
I can go my verse, yes, I see the way to say. I get down for my grandfather who took my mama, made us sit in that seat where white folks ain't want us to eat. At the tender age of 6, he was arrested for the sit-ins. With that in my blood, I was born to be different. That niggas can't make it to balance to choose leadership. But we can make it to Jacobs or to the dealership. That's why I hear new music and I just don't be feeling it. Racism still alive, they just be concealing it. But I know they don't want me in the damn club. They even make me show ID to get up in the Sam's Club. I done did dirt and went to church to get my hands scrubbed. Swear I've been baptized these 3 or 4 times. But in the land where niggas praise you cons and getting paid, it's gonna take a lot more than coupons to get us saved. It can take a lot more than do-rags to get you way. Nothing sad as that day my girl father passed away. So I promised to Mr. Rainey I'm gonna marry your daughter. And you know I gotta thank you for the way that she was brought her. And I know that you was smiling when you seen the car I bought her. And you sent tears from heaven when you seen my car get balled up. But I can't complain with the action it did to my left thigh. Look what the action it did to the left thigh. First Aaliyah, now Romeo must die. I know I got angels watching me from the other side. One thing I found, you never let me down.